Okay, I just want to document that this tropical depression Marie is still very anomalous on the satellite maps. And here's the morning of August 31st at daybreak, and we can see that it's supposedly still there. But the strange thing is this cloud mass here doesn't show up in infrared. In water vapor. Let me zoom in a little. Okay, this is a few hours later. This is midday. And want to notice a couple of things here. Well, anyway, this is still spinning low pressure. And I think that due to the warm water, this has actually come back into existence. Or who knows. And then this is later in the day. This is actually sunset, August 31st. Zoom in a little. And if we look at the cloud patterns, there's just kind of still looks like there's only this much that's actually real. And what I'm really interested in is this stuff down here. Is this real? There don't seem to be any highlights at all. So now let's look at the water vapor map. Water vapor map. Okay, this is at daybreak. Daybreak, August 31st, 2014. So this is very odd looking. Let me zoom in a little. It's very odd looking. And are they serious? They want us to believe that there's, in this black area here, that there's no water vapor. I mean, are they really serious? So, the strange thing is this guy here spinning around. And we can look at this again later, a few hours later, midday. Zoom in. Computer's slow. And you know, this is interesting because we can see these white clouds going through California here. So if we look back on the visible light map, guess what do we see? We see these same white clouds going through California here. Let me zoom in a little. So on both the maps, this is the only thing that's common, is this stripe of clouds here. Let me go back, if I can find it. Okay, yeah, maybe one more later. Here we go. Now this is identical to this. And if, I think I can go one map later. Oops. Let me start and unzoom. Well, it's getting dark. Oops, I'm going backwards. There we go. So let me zoom in now. Anyway, and stop. So these clouds here show up in both the water vapor and the visible, but none of this stuff is common. None of this stuff is showing up in water vapor mode. Why would it show up here? Well, let me go back. Here we see the clouds. Why isn't there a band of clouds here? And what the hell is this thing here? Okay, now let me do a little bit of a demo on this. Okay, that's shortwave infrared. There's just, who knows what's happening there. It's very muddy looking. And okay, so this is low pressure. It's swirling. In fact, it's increasing in strength. But look how close it is to the Baja HAARP transmitter. Very close. So I would expect this thing to be destroyed. And here's about 6 hours later. We're seeing something, some dark area there, like it's being broken up. And then 6 hours later, that breakup is continuing. Computer's really slow. Okay, so this breakup is continuing even more. But, you know, this is just really anomalous. let me go to the pressure maps. Here's the pressure map showing the surface pressure at daybreak. So we can see this low pressure. They did record this swirl as a low pressure. There's nothing here describing that big water vapor swirl. And here's later in the day. It's about 12 hours later, I think. Yeah, it is 12 hours later. So that low pressure is still there at the surface, and they're not recording any of that big swirl. Now we look at the jet stream. This is at daybreak. So there is a low pressure in the jet stream. So that is a pretty powerful low. And here's an odd thing. What the hell is that? They're calling it high pressure in the next map, I think. So now let's step ahead another 12 hours. Jet stream. They're still showing this as a low pressure. Now they're showing this swirl here. Okay, sorry, this is the upper atmosphere jet stream, and this is at daybreak. So they are showing a low pressure here. Jump ahead 12 hours. Oh crap, sorry about that. Okay, so this is at daybreak. Then we jump ahead 12 hours. So that low pressure, that big swirl, supposedly is in the jet stream. Yeah, right. It's just anomalous, that's all. I really... Why would it be shown like that and like this in one map, and then the water vapor shows it like that? Whereas it does show these clouds are still in common. Holy cow. I don't get it. And if they're in common, let me start this. Why are those the only clouds that are in common? Well, I would say because people in California are watching those clouds because they can physically look out the window and see them, and that area is not getting messed with this HAARP transmitter. You know, this is interesting. Here we can see some banding right here. It's kind of like the HAARP downburst roll cloud. Let's see what, if we step ahead towards the sunset, how does it look? Zoom in a little. Yeah, it's still there. But this whole thing's just anomalous because these clouds right here are the only ones in common between the two satellite views. Very weird. In other words, well, you know, one of these satellite views is false. And I still think it's the visible light satellite. Let me unzoom this and get the whole picture. I still think this stuff is anomalous. There's something here. They're downbursting. Actually, you can see these waves coming out now. It's a lot more visible when it's smaller. Okay, so here's your HAARP transmitter. We see there's, in the water vapor map, there's a low pressure here, and we see these dark bands expanding outward here. So, you know, how can you tell what's going on? You know, even the people that are making the pressure maps evidently don't know what to put, because this first map, they do show low pressure in the jet stream. Second map, oops, I messed up again, sorry. Okay, here's sea level, jet stream. Okay, they show a low here, 9672, then 12 hours later, 9679. So this is less of a low pressure, and yet they don't draw a circle around it here, but then they, even though it's less of a low pressure, they draw a circle around it. You know, and this is kind of odd here, because it later shows up as a, here they label as a high pressure 12 hours later. It's just, so somebody, oh, I don't know what to make of it, but this is the continuing anomaly from that tropical storm Marie being crushed. And true to form, California didn't get any rain at all. Very odd. You know, one thing though I am noticing is that this, out by Hawaii here, there's a sign of downbursting out here. Because if you look at the jet stream, this guy could get picked up by the jet stream and dragged over. Where's the other map? No, this is it. Yeah, this is actually a jet stream map. So this guy here, yeah, he could build and get sucked in. So I think they are now doing HAARP downburst on top of it because there's a dark ring of blackness around it, which just means they heat the ionosphere on top. There's a bubble of dry air pressed downward, and as it hits the more dense layers of the atmosphere, it squeezes out and begins to spin on the edge like a rolling pin. And that spinning, that expanding zone of clear air is what we see on the satellite, and you can tell that was a HAARP downburst. Of course, also the storm will be smashed and disappear. So I just want to document that is going on. You know, one thing that is an additional tool here is if they are downbursting this cloud here, let me go back to the water vapor. If they are downbursting this to create a dry zone here, which will then feed into here and kind of shut the whole thing down, because as we go forward, it gets drier and drier here. So looking at the HAARP machine compared to Baja, there's like one length. So here's one length, two lengths, about 2.5 lengths to the southwest. Seems to be a dry zone here building up. So let's look at the humidity maps at altitude. Here's a surface map at altitude. I'm going to zoom in like this. Oh, we need to have a scale showing. Let me try and back up. Where's the scale? Oh, okay, it's too far. Okay, no, that's better. That's better. Now, so 1, 2.5. So at the surface, there's no dry air because this green over here shows it's about 70% humidity. Now that's what we expect because the HAARP downburst does not reach to the surface. It gets mushroom clouded out, upside down mushroom cloud, I don't know where, 5,000, 10,000 feet. But if we look on this map, this is 850 millibars, so it's about 5,000 feet, I think. So it would be right about here. And sure enough, there's dry air there. Not in one particular spot, but that's going to be dry air, like 10 to 20% humidity. And we look again. Hope I'm not lift this up a little bit. Okay, there. That's better. Now we look down here. Now we see something very interesting. Okay, so this is 700 millibar, which, oh gosh, it's like 10,000 feet. I think that's about 10,000 feet. Need to look it up. So here, right on target, is a dark little spot, 10% humidity. So this air is descending from higher up. It's really dry, and it matches this other map over here, which let me go back and show that. Whoops, not that one. Okay, maybe this one. Yeah, this one. Okay, so I'm looking at this little HAARP transmitter going out 2.5 lengths. Like here's one length, 1, 2.5. So now I'm going to go back over to 700 millibar here. So here's the HAARP transmitter, just roughly 1, 2.5. So it's right in the right spot here. It's 500 millibar. What is this, like 15,000 feet or something? So as we go higher up, there's more dry air. And now 300 millibar, which is 30,000 feet. And there's another pocket of dry air. So this humidity map is actually confirming that there's a strange little pocket of dry air. Of course, that doesn't prove that the HAARP is doing it, but I just thought that was interesting. So I continue to think that what we're seeing on the satellite map here is not actually a accurate. Not accurate. But keep your eye on this guy. Look at these strange clouds right here. Because he's going to possibly build up into a real storm and then get pulled by the jet stream. So they've got to do something with that. There's some, yeah, very odd looking, strange motion in the clouds there. Let me look back at this other one at sunset. Let's just have a look and see if they're still doing that odd looking expanding dark area. And sure enough, yeah, they are. In fact, gosh, there's a straight line right here, right at the end. That does not look normal at all. And let's see, I think that's the last one I had. Yeah, it is. It's just for grins, look at it in water vapor. On zoom, and go out here, and look at this guy. Let's see what it's doing. Well, see, instead of having some counterclockwise motion, it's getting smeared out. Very suspicious. You know, because rising air is going to automatically turn. It's going to turn to the left. It's going to turn counterclockwise. And we don't see that turning here, even though obviously these are big storms building up quickly. So that looks like the Gakona HAARP is reaching out a really long way and shutting this one down also. That's what I would think. Let me look at the jet stream again just to see how much that could get pulled in. Sea level, jet stream. So this guy here, he is already in a pretty fast moving portion of the jet stream. He will get pulled this way and into Oregon. So they're going to kill it out in the Pacific. You know, somebody needs to do an analysis of how many of these low pressures mysteriously disappear in the Pacific. And one way to do that is just count the number of low pressures that come on shore in 2014 or 2013. Compare it to, say, 1990, 1995, before this nightmare started. You're going to find it's night and day. It's absolutely no low pressures enter the West Coast anymore. And that would be so great if meteorologists would dig through some old books, some old data charts, and figure that number out. Okay, poor guys in California, just dry as a bone. I'm sorry about that. Thanks for watching.